Hi everyone, this is Brian, and today I'm going to talk about Darkon. I'm going to be discussing using this, this, and this. Alright, so to understand Darkon, you have to understand the history, and the history of Darkon goes all the way back to its Dark Lord, or previous Dark Lord, Azalin Rex. Not to get confused with Aslan, the lion from Narnia, whose first name in Turkish means lion. Yeah, it's Lion the Lion, Narnia. Azalin does not mean that. Okay, it has an extra A in it. And it has a Z instead of an S. So don't get those mixed up. Azalin first appeared in Ravenloft 2, which was my second module, House on Griffin Hill, that takes place in Mordant. He was Strahd's minion, in the adventure, and at the conclusion of the adventure, it all went bad for Strahd. They ended up back in Barovia, and Azalin kind of gave up with him escaping, and then just walked into the mists, and Darkon appeared, and it literally was a third of the entire core. So it was the biggest land. And Azalin pretty much was the mover and shaker of the entire Ravenloft series. Anything something major happened, it was Azalin's fault. And mostly it was him trying to escape. The first time he tried to fulfill this prophecy, it caused the Grand Conjunction. Places got moved out of the core. Some realms disappeared completely. It caused chaos. But he did it out of order, so it failed. Second time he did that, he tried to make himself a demi-lich in order to escape from Ravenloft, and he completely obliterated and killed everything in the main city of Darkon, and that turned into its own realm called Necropolis, and it was ruled by a clone of his that was turned into a negative planar elemental that just called himself Death. That has completely disappeared with 5th edition. This time, also it obliterated Aslan, and he had to reassemble himself. He eventually put himself in his son's bones because he killed his son. That was one of the things he did. But a large portion of him was within Darkon, like in the ground and everything. He kind of actually became basically Darkon for a while. And I think that's good for the move into 5th edition, because it looks like he had another plan. Now, he was talking about doing a plan in 3rd edition. In fact, he sent S around throughout Ravenloft to find the children of the Gentleman Caller, now just called the Caller. Maybe he should have just be called the Gentleman. I don't know. There were several, but whatever plot he had, he hatched it, and it became the Day of Ascension. And this, I am going to say, is the reason why there's so many changes in 5th edition, but it also is why Darkon is falling apart. It's being broken up into 3 pieces, large chunks, and Aslan's missing. But is he? The thing about it is, if you followed Ravenloft, you know what his real name is. And his real name happens to be the same as one of the Wanderers in the Mist that is going around as a wandering mage. Firin Zal Honin. Yes, this guy right here. This is the human name, and the human form of Azalin. Now, this is really easy to do because we know Azalin had multiple clones all over the place. So I am going to say that the best way to get from the original stuff to 5th edition is to say somehow he was able to remove himself by using one of his clones, and he escaped with one of his clones. Maybe he sent the clone over the border and then somehow managed to put himself back into the clone. I don't know. But he's not a lich anymore. He is in a human form, and a much younger human form. So I'm going to say it's definitely a clone, because he was an old man when he became a lich. Because of this, the fact he's not in Darkon anymore, Darkon's breaking up. And it's breaking into 3 pieces and slowly wasting away. There are things I don't like about Darkon. The way they redid it. They made a Baron Metis. And there was a Baron Metis before. But now they have another one for no apparent reason. And it makes no sense, the motivation. They say that this Baron Metis knew the old Baron Metis, which caused the whole problem with Van Richten, but didn't like her brother. But now that her brother was killed, she's really angry and is going after Van Richten. That makes no sense. Her motivation makes no sense whatsoever. And it was just kind of made up for this. So I would not use that character. The character just doesn't make any sense. What I would use, going into the Gazetter, was there was another female vampire that you could just place right in, and her name was Lady Cassandra. Here's her. She is basically has similar things to there. I would make her a thief inquisitor or mastermind. I would give her those levels. She was a villain of Alanic Ray. She was sent to kill Alanic Ray, and he threw holy water in her face, which is why she has the patch over her eye. It caused it to pucker, and she has this weird glowing eye, which is why she covers it up. Because of that. But she's very intelligent. She is a mastermind. So she's not a physical fighter. She's not ultimate evil, but she's a Moriarty character, not some sort of thug that just wants to kill everything, because those are kind of boring characters anyway. Again, I'm not really happy with the new character. Otherwise, I think it's okay the way they've done things. I would say with the history that at the time of Ascension, Valid Drakov did a invasion into Darkon. And I will get to there when I get to Falkovnia, because I have big plans for Falkovnia to get it to where it is. I have a plan. It will make perfect sense. But he will have to have done an invasion at the exact time of Ascension. Listen to me. This will work. That being said, in 3rd edition, it had different people there. I'm not sure why there's a human in 5th edition being one of the kind of bosses, because that wasn't how Azalin worked. There was a dwarven vampire, I remember, in charge of one area. Dwarves had their own vampirism, as elves and halflings and gnomes. They had their own special vampirism that had different features to it. I'm going to probably have separate videos on the various, like, werewolves and lycanthropy and the different alternatives to those. Like, some of them aren't going to be affected by silver. They might be affected by something else. And then a whole thing on the vampires of Ravenloft, the various strains and changes, like as they get older, you might make them more powerful. So we'll cover that later. But for the most part, that's what I would do. I would like to see somehow Azalin being tricked back into Darkon and getting stuck again. And I think that would be a great eventual thing for a campaign, is to get him the mage back into Darkon and causing it all to fail. Interestingly enough, the impairment Azalin has, where he isn't able to learn new spells. That was Aslan's curse through most of the series, because that would be the most suckiest thing you could have if you were a lich, because your whole purpose was to live forever so you could learn all the magic on the world, and then you can't. Essentially, I would be okay with most of the things with Darkon. Again, it makes sense with Aslan constantly trying to escape. I mean, only 2 Dark Lords have ever escaped. Lord Soth and Vecna. Vecna became a god, and that's how a full god, which is how he did it. And Lord Soth used copyright law to escape. So, Aslan hasn't escaped, but he came close. Anyway, my next one will be Dementaloo, where I have a big plans for that as well. Thank you.